Yo, welcome back to another episode of Tools for Parents. I wanted to talk about something that a lot of parents often ask me and my wife, and it's how do we discipline our kids? Um, Real quick, I want to briefly go and talk about the type of discipline I grew up with and how that allowed me to be able to change what I do as far as being a parent. Um, I grew up with a single mother from down south, right? Down south, single moms, especially in a black household, a lot of discipline comes with uh, violence in a way. Whipping your child, putting your hands on your child. Majority, I feel like, kind of is like a to scare your kids kind of way. I grew up getting a lot of whoopings. I was a I was a very busy, active kid. A lot of parent teacher conferences, a lot of phone calls, a lot of things around the neighborhood. And I don't knock my mom for what she did. She did whatever she thought was the best way to display her definition of discipline. Having kids, it taught me what I didn't want to do though, right? I feel like in the black household, especially down south, from generations on and generations on, it's like a baton that gets passed down. And it's constantly getting passed down from generation to generation. And I don't know if it's a true fact or not, but last time the furthest I could put whippings from is with slavery. So to know that parents will whoop their kids and say that it's out of love, I don't think slaves were getting whooped from out of love, if you ask me. And I think that's the most comparable thing that you could actually use whippings with. So fast forward, right? I'm a whole adult. One of the main things I want to talk about though, real quick, that I see that a lot of parents fail at off rip. And I'm the first person to tell you I don't judge. What I'm saying, I'm not saying that that's what you need to use. But I realize a lot of parents fail at one thing. And I have to judge this. At the very beginning of any kid, any offspring, whatever you want to choose to become a human, right? At the very beginning, I'm talking about from the infant. A lot of times parents feel like not allowing their child to be comfortable with hearing no. That's the number one thing. Like I'm telling you, not having your child accept and understand that sometimes no is going to be heard. I feel as if that's like a downward spiral, man. Like it's important because you got to realize from the infant all the way to the baby, whatever stage, toddler, they don't want to hear no. Whenever they have their mindset on something, whether it's to get multiple snacks, play with this toy, do whatever, they do not know about no. Only thing they know about is what they want to do, right? They don't even know about yes. They just want to do what they want to do. And it's crazy because being at home, being a stay-at-home dad now for about 5 years of 6 kids, like I've been able to see the milestones. So it's supposed to come. Like they supposed to have temper tantrums. They supposed to, whenever you do tell them no, they go feel some type of way. But it's important to get your child comfortable with hearing no. That's one of the most things I think that's like one of my number one things if I was to tell a parent. Make sure your child is okay with hearing no, right? The other day, one of the neighbors walked over and they asked, what do we do in this situation? And when the situation was their kid has sticky fingers and also lies. Now, let me be clear about this. I don't know the teenage far as past 13. I don't know how to deal with that yet. 13 and down, I know a lot of shortcuts because I done been around the park for a minute now. I got 6. I know something. And one thing I realized is 5 different personalities in this house right now. They all act different. They all continue to do the same things. So What I mean by that is you gonna have a child that might lie. You might have a child that might be sneaky. You might have a child who like to take stuff. And it's their character. There's nothing wrong with them. It's nothing to the point to where what's wrong with my child? We all did it. We all did something. So it's common, right? So the neighbors come over and they ask. And this is one thing I picked up on. Again, I used to get a lot of whoopings growing up. And I told myself I wasn't going to pass that baton down. But I was a child that did a lot of stuff. And my brother was the type of kid growing up, he would tell on me, right? And one thing that I changed far as in my household was, if I didn't see it, no matter how much I could say, I know every one of my kids' MO. I know every one of my kids what they like to do, as far as this one loves to lie or this one loves to, I know, right? But there were times when I didn't do something and I would still get a whooping. My mom didn't see, and I ain't gonna lie. From in the past, I remember when she used to tell me, well, I did so much stuff, or this is something that I normally do. I know you did it. And it could be right. It could be true. But again, like I told you, I didn't want to give my kids what I gave. And I know a lot of times when I was telling the truth, and the fact that my mom did not want to believe me, that hurt. That hurts a lot. Because now I'm about to get a whooping for something I didn't do. I'm about to get in a punishment, whatever the situation was, right? So recently, and I'm going to say probably a good 3 years, I started, if I didn't see it, I'm not about to be like, oh, I know you did it though. And still, like now, they come, they tell me, and I will say there are some obvious things, right? Let's just be honest. If your child is in a room by themselves and something happens, well, you clearly know you're the only one. But even with that, if I didn't see it, I'm not about to sit here and give you this whole spiel. If I didn't see it, just because one of your siblings come and tell me, don't mean that I'm going to go believe them. What we do in our house, right? We like to have a moment where, for one, I think it's important, if you want to figure out a situation that happened, remove your child, the one that's involved in the situation, from everybody else. Don't put them in a situation where you're talking to them and then you got the siblings in the background, or you got music. Have a one-on-one talk. I also believe kids, right, whenever they do something, in order for them not to want to get in trouble, the first thing they're going to do is want to lie. And I think sometimes the environment and the situation and what's around causes that. Take your child to the park. If you really want to have a conversation, take them to the room by themselves. Eliminate everything around, distractions, everything, and be open to hear. Always remember, one thing that I always like to go off of is how I felt about a situation whenever I was a kid. So to know when I did something, to hear my mom shouting and screaming and yelling, that's not what, like, of course I'm gonna lie. Like, I'm really about to lie. Because I see what type of temperature, I see where your temperature is at already. So as a kid, I don't want to deal with that. We as parents, it's our job, because you have to realize, and one thing I tell a lot of parents, they did not ask to be here. Meaning, they did not ask to be with a parent who don't know how to talk. They did not ask to be born in a family of no patience. They didn't ask to be inside of a situation with no understanding. So, be patient, be understanding, be stern. But allow your child to be able to be comfortable enough to know that, okay, even when they do make a mistake, they could come to you. They could talk to you about it when it's time to talk. And I see, me personally, I see a lot of kids be afraid. So, again, back to that situation when the neighbors came over, I was talking to them and I told them, I said, hey, if we don't see it, we don't do the whole blame game. Because at the end of the day, they might not have done it. You don't know. You just going off of your assumptions of what you think this person might do. So when they was asking, they was like, okay, cool, but what do you... And I'm telling them, I'm like, listen, So for us, right, whenever we talking to them, let's just say if they denying it, well, we know something happened, right? All right, cool. I am a firm believer in, and I'm talking to all my parents who truly understand what I'm talking about. When you're a good parent, you don't deserve to be lied to. When you're a good parent, you don't deserve to be receiving phone calls from the school. It's going to happen though, trust and believe. But I'm saying as far as when you going into disciplining your kids, right? For one, I don't believe with all the hitting and putting your hands on your kid. But I definitely believe in when you know you have done everything in your power to make it to where this child don't even have to be in those situations where they having sticky fingers or they constantly be stern when you apply discipline. Be stern. You done everything in your power to make it to where this don't even have to be a situation. Even though it's gonna happen, but you've done your job. So whenever it comes down to it, be stern and talk it. Like always, I feel as if it's important to talk to your kids about why something is happening too. Like that, I feel as if that's important. But when it comes to discipline in our house, honestly, we have created an environment, and this is something that I didn't even get to have as a kid because, again, it was a lot of fear whenever I was growing up. I knew if I did something, 9 times 10, I'm about to go get a whooping. In our household, disappointment is the first thing. And what I mean by that is, our kids would get disappointed in themselves first before we have to do anything. That's something I think that is so important too. It allows your child to know the difference between anger and disappointment. It allows them to know the difference between aggression and disappointment. But the fact that my kids would get disappointed in themselves because, see, they know, bro, we done did everything in our power to make it to where you ain't even have to choose that. So when they realize that they let us down, they get disappointed first. I think that honestly is like one of the best self-punishments anybody can have, right? Moving forward to that, whatever you enjoy, right? Let's get down to what the disciplines are. Whatever you enjoy, we're not doing that no more. So whether you have a phone or you like TV, tablets, having your friend over, going outside, because again, you didn't think about nothing else when you chose that decision, right? So I shouldn't have to continue to benefit your happiness when you do something wrong. Oh no, and it's crazy. My wife sometimes done made it to where it don't look like a psych ward inside the room. I'm talking about it's straight walls when they come home from school. No toys, no. And I feel like also too, I'm gonna be real about this. Parents, it's our fault sometimes on why our child don't understand why they get disciplined. And what I mean by that? Well, sometimes whenever we see them looking crazy, oh, we feel bad for them. Oh, you know what? It's too harsh that we gave them that punishment. What lesson are they gonna learn? And it's crazy because when the neighbors came and they walked over late night to ask, literally, the kids wanted to have a sleepover. And they were like, well, I don't think it's gonna be a good week because, you know, a situation happened. Let me be clear about something. And it's something that we even do in our household. If one child does something, don't blame the rest of them. You want to have a effective discipline consequence. I'm talking about especially if you have multiple kids. Let one of them go do something and the other one can't. I promise you, that feeling of knowing that my siblings are having fun, but I can't because of whatever decisions I made, I promise you, that's a stinger right there. And I'm talking about whether we going to a jump park, whether we about to go to a play, you go sit right here beside me and think about what you did. And again, as parents, we have to be stern. When we do discipline, that don't mean we don't love our kids. When we apply discipline, that don't mean we don't want to see the best. No, listen, get that out your head for one. But also understand you don't deserve to be put in a position where you have to go and discipline your child. So the fact that now you having to be in that position, listen, there's no more talking after that. Another thing that we do in our house, we do this thing where our kids aren't caught off guard, right? We have family talks, like literally family meetings that anybody could hold. You tell that, hey, you want to have a family meeting, we all get to the table. Saying that, I'm meaning far as those are the times where expectations need to be applied. Far as what I expect from you, far as cleaning up your room, cleaning up your bathroom, going to school, when you out in public. Have those expectations, because after that, like I remember, and I'm gonna be real quick with this one. I remember I had a boxing buddy who asked me, what do I do when I done tried and I done did everything and my child still, and I think on this situation, her kid didn't want to go back to high school. Like he told her he wasn't going, right? And I asked her, I said, listen, he got a TV in his room? She said, yeah. She said, I said, do he got a cell phone? He could call his friends? She said, yeah. I said, you doing talking with him? When you set those expectations in your house, right, as far as the rules that need to be followed, set them, and that's it. Because it allows it to be where we done had a conversation about what's going to happen if this don't happen, right? So you're not caught off guard. You're not surprised. Actually, before you make that decision of whatever you chose, you remember our conversation. You know what your mom and dad response gonna be, but expectations are important. And I'm talking about before something happened. Talk about it. Because when it happens, it shouldn't be no talking. I'm talking about no talking. Be stern. I'm talking about go right in. It's no talking. That's what I realized that a lot of parents be doing. They be doing a lot of talking with their kids. And that's something I'm gonna be honest with you, I don't agree on. And I'm not saying that that's what you should do. I don't agree with that. I don't agree with, again, being a parent, knowing that you're doing your best to make sure no situations gotta happen. And then when you make a situation, we going back to talking like we ain't never, no. You had every and any opportunity. We not doing that. So I wanted to make this video because I felt as if it's important that as parents, we learn different ways on how to discipline our kids. There's no one set way of discipline. If you want to be the type of parent where, it's talking all the time, cool. If you want to have punishments, cool. If you want to, whatever you choose, listen, I never dictate and tell you what to do. But I also know how many parents have came to us because they see how we have a whole litter of kids, and when they walk in our house ain't junky or messy. They want to know how. Or they see how our kids are polite. This is not a flex, but I gotta say it. It feels so good as a parent, and me and my wife, big shout out, right? It feels so good to hear how many people compliment our kids. Talking about the mannerism, talking about how they cleaning up when we leave somewhere, talking about how they not. It's a reason why. It's a reason why. Listen, I never tell you to do something that you don't want to do, but I'm not for the whole spoiling and no talking, no nothing. Again, you do what you want to do with your family, but I've seen how those situations play out to far as adults. I'm talking about don't have no skill training, no knowledge. They depending on their parent for everything. They thinking everything is supposed to be theirs, entitlement. It's crazy. I feel as if discipline, consequences is part of structure that builds a child, allows the child to actually know, to really understand the difference between right and wrong. Because again, like I told my homeboy Taylor the other day, kids are supposed to push the button. Like it's a big red button in front of them. Everything that they do, they supposed to do. It's our job to dictate how many times they push that button. It's just bottom line. But growth is important. One more thing I want to add to this. Having a strong partnership with your partner is important when it comes to discipline. Because it allows the child to know we're not playing sides. Me and daddy are on the both, mommy and daddy, whatever, we on the same side. It's no going back and forth. It's no, you go try to coddle your way into mine to make me feel bad and go. No, having that strong background of me and the wife, or me and whatever the situation, we tight. There's nothing. Whatever I say goes, whatever she say goes, it's nothing. So again, I'm a firm believer in we ain't putting hands on kids no more. Like, if you still putting your hands on your kid, that you tripping. Because at the end of the day, you're supposed to be able to get your point across no matter what. My kids know the tone of my voice. They know my face expressions. And again, my kids get disappointed in themselves when they do something, because they know how much we have done to put a smile on their face. They see the disappointment in ourselves. They go punish themselves before we do anything. My oldest, man, listen, sometimes she'll take the TV away from herself. And again, all kids are going to do something. Y'all might not hear me talk that much about the times when they, but trust and believe, they doing stuff. They doing stuff, and I'm talking about I be wanting to use that elbow so much, just straight power drive them. But it's about being a different person. All jokes aside, these kids did not ask to be here. They did not. So when it comes to the disciplinary, when it comes to consequences, they expect from us to handle it the right way. And as much as we might be frustrated, we might be angry, don't let that be a lasting impression on them. Those are the times that they remember the most. They don't remember a lot of the good times, but they remember those bad times. They remember when you turned into a gorilla. They remember when you were screaming and shouting. They remember when you put them on punishment and then you walking past them like they don't even exist because you're so mad. They didn't ask to be here. It's our job to respond the right way. It's our job to discipline the right way and to hand out consequences. Parents, we got to do better. We have to literally tell ourselves, what was it like for us as a kid? Like, really, that's my motivation. I always go back to how I felt as a kid, what I wanted to be done, or what could have been done differently. And I apply that to my family. Family meetings are important. Expectations are important. Being stern is important. Partnership is important. Everything goes into it. But don't allow them kids to walk over you. Listen, do not allow them to walk over you, because you'll be surprised at any age. I'm talking about from a baby all the way to 10, 11, 12, of how much they would do that without them even knowing it. They don't know that's what it's called, but they'll do it because you allow it. Don't allow that to happen. Catch y'all later.